Alright, this is a tutorial of TickyTimer. So I'm going to enter a bunch of task names. For this, I'm going to enter just random task names. So task 1, enter task 2, enter task 3, press enter, and so on and so forth. You can do as many as you like. And the same goes for task time. So if I want to do 1 minute, I'd put 1. 3.5 minutes would be 3.5. And I'm supposed to press enter. 7.5 minutes, 9 minutes. And the one in blue is the selected one. So if I select task 2 and 3.5, if I clicked on the start, it would start a timer for task 2 for 3.5 minutes. So let's go ahead and do that. As you see here, task 2, the target is 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And the start is at 12:04. This is in PST. And then if I wanted to start a task for task 4, and then for 7.5 minutes, I would click on those and I click start. And as you see, once you submit, the totals up here are updated. So total time worked, 13 plus 3 is 16. Target time, so 7 minutes and 30 seconds plus 3 minutes and 30 seconds is 11 minutes. And productivity is, it's kind of high just because I finished a 3-minute task in 13 seconds and a 7-minute task in 3 seconds. So that's why it's really high. And if I want to, I can, if I have to use the restroom, just click on pause. And when I'm back, click on resume. And if I submit it, that time right here is going to show right here. So 5 seconds. Alright, now we're going to do the windowed version. So windowed version is right here. So let's say I have a task page open. This is going to be our task page. And let's say I want to keep the timer on the page. I would go ahead and put this here. Now notice if I click, it goes away. That's kind of annoying. So what I have, there's a program called Always on Top. Right here. I have a link right here, Always on Top. This is just the instructions that pops up with the window. So let me open that. I'm going to click the window. I'm going to press Control Space. Now I can edit, draw, whatever. And this stays up. So let's say this is a 3-minute task. And it's experimental. I would go up here. Now for this, you don't have to press enter. You just you just put the task name in the task time. And you click start. And that's what starts the time. The page is the same as the other one. It's just kind of like a squished down version. The reason that I don't have this same select right here that I did on the dashboard version is just because it takes up too much room. And it kind of defeats the purpose. So let me close out of it. So I worked on an experimental for 3 minutes. If I go down and I go to the dashboard, notice that the experimental was added to the dashboard. The one thing you don't want to do is have 2 windows open at the same time of the timer. Because let's say I have 2 windows open and I edit one of them, it'll overwrite the other one. So that could be a problem. So that's why when you click on windowed version, it does change this so you're not on the same window. Because let's say I am on this version. So I'm going to add a task and call it random. Give it 2 minutes. So as you see down here, it's actually added. If I click on refresh, we will see random down here. But if I don't click on refresh and I just change the value here, let's say I make an edit. Let's say I start random 2 on this page. for 5 minutes. And I have to press enter for these. Notice the random one doesn't come up, or the first random I put in. And when I refresh, you don't see that random one that I had here. Just because I am working on 2 windows at the same time, just make sure not to do that. And if you want to export, you can export it right here. And the totals are on the very bottom. So total target time, the time that you started working at, which is 12:04. Time that you ended is 12:09. And the total time that you worked on the task. Do you know that total tasks is coming, the number of tasks that you worked on? This is going to be the time that you start to the time that you end work. So the time that you start the first task, then the time that you end the last task is going to be total session, because a lot of people are asking for that. Total money made and available training. Those are coming too. Probably maybe this weekend, whenever I can get to it. I do have a lot of clients right now, so it just depends on how much time I have. Timesheets is for looking at different days. So you notice if I see the 4th of April, I can see the task that I worked on. You can also export and clear this particular day. I will have a query for multiple days. That'll also be coming soon, where you can, maybe the 4th, you want to know the week, so Monday to Friday. That will be coming soon. It's just not available right now. I just haven't had the time to get to it. Clear is what you do if you want to delete your data for that particular day. So this is back on the dashboard. So if I delete this, it'll just delete my work today. And there's a list of settings, notifications, starting timers at different times, ending timers at certain times. Just look through it. These two do require you to be logged in for them to work. Basically, it is default task names and default task times. So if I log in, notice I have things auto-populated. That's because I have default task names and default task times filled out. You can enter your hourly rates, percent of work allotted for training. This is going to be for the table. It's not ready yet, but it will be coming soon. Number of seconds to send notifications before the task ends. And different options down here. There'll be more options coming later. Do know that the timesheets are stored in local storage. So I can refresh, and it's still there. Local storage is basically, it's kind of like cache. It's stored on your computer. It's not stored in any kind of database. So just make sure to back up your data always at the end of a task. Just in case. I'm not responsible for any lost data. If you do delete your history, you will also be deleting your time cards. Just because local storage, for most browsers, is considered, is put into the category of cache when you delete your browser history. So just make sure that you're always exporting, or at least writing down the times, or storing it somewhere. And yeah, I think that does it. I can't really think of anything else. I am getting a lot of suggestions. I'll get to them as quickly as possible. I just realized I do have 2 jobs, and I do work a lot. So it just depends on how much time I have and when I can get around to it. Things I consider not as important will be kind of pushed back. And things that are most crucial to the functioning of the timer and the data will be put to the front. I will add it definitely pretty soon, a bigger timer for people who have a hard time seeing. I'll just add it as a new version, like as a big timer version, I guess. So if you have problems seeing the timer, it will be up That's something that's easy to do. It doesn't take up much time. Sorry if I can't respond to every suggestion. I do get a lot of multiple suggestions that are the same, so I might have to figure out a way to maybe post previous suggestions so that they're not repetitive. But the next thing I'm going to work on is the total tasks, total sessions, this section right here. I'll add a bigger timer for people who have hard time seeing. And I'm going to add a timesheet where you can query multiple days and not just one. So those are the things that are coming. I also will have it to where tasks will cascade. So if I have multiple task ones that are all 1 minute long, it'll actually just be one row. So it'll be task 1, 3 minutes, starting at 12:12 and ending, 12:12. Let's say it ended at 12:15, just to make more sense. So it would be task 1, 3 minutes, 12:12 to 12:15. That will be coming, but because it's not a necessary, it's not a completely necessary function, I will have it maybe pushed back a little bit, maybe a couple weeks. But I do realize that would make things a lot easier. And yeah, so just make sure you're always exporting. Notice that I can still see, I did a clear this day, so that's why you can't see anything. And this is just a bunch of tests. I've been running a lot of tests, so just make sure you export it, just because when you delete your local history, you are also deleting your time cards. That's not good, so just make sure that you're exporting. There will be maybe a Dropbox or a Google Drive option in the future that will be more permanent. But for now, local storage does work. And you should probably be writing down your total times every day anyway, so I don't think that should be a problem. And that concludes this tutorial.